Hi everyone, Elliot Jacobson here for Advanced Advantage Play, and today I want to talk about the method of beating casinos, which is far and away the strongest method that Advantage players have been using over the last 20 years. And what is that method? Well, it is HoleCarding proprietary games, proprietary casino games. We know what those are: three-card poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and all those other carnival games you see where you don't really think of those games as highly beatable. They're not taken seriously by many casinos. Only fools play those games. The real thing we have to worry about are card counters on blackjack. None of that's true. These games can be very, very lucrative if you become knowledgeable about how to hole card them. So let's just get right into it. So first of all, what is HoleCarding? I asked AI for a definition. I got a very good definition from Gemini. And that is, HoleCarding refers to gaining an advantage in card games by seeing cards that are supposed to be hidden. In most cases, this refers to seeing the dealer's hole card, the card dealt face down. I erased unfair because that's a bit of editorializing that I don't really think an AI is entitled to do. That's a judgment call. And AI goes on to say that HoleCarding is generally not illegal itself unless it involves using devices or conspiring with the dealer. If you are providing information at the table of any type, you can use that information. It's freely available to use for all players at the game. So please go ahead and use it. It is not illegal. Casinos, of course, actively tried to prevent HoleCarding through dealer training, table design, and shuffling procedures. I'm going to talk a little bit about table design today and give you some clues on what to look for if you are a player and what to look for also if you are the casino side and you want to improve your game protection. Successfully pulling off HoleCarding requires a combination of opportunity and skill. The opportunity is that HoleCarding is not that common. You won't just be able to walk into a casino and find an opportunity to HoleCard. You're going to have to spend a lot of time looking for it. And once you find it, that's where the skill comes in. The ability to read the whole cards when they're flashed very quickly. The ability to know sometimes very complicated strategies for HoleCarding. So it is definitely something that takes a lot of skill and experience to be able to do well. So lastly, it's important to remember that casinos take security seriously, and advantages gained through HoleCarding are likely to be short-lived. Well, okay, they can or they can't be. It is just a question of the cover you may use and how smart you are in going about it. So let's first talk about three-card poker, which is the game where really the bulk of the HoleCarding went on in my own personal career. Three-card poker has an extraordinarily trivial strategy for basic strategy. So this is the best way to play against the game. If you are a player, you make the play bet with queen 6-4 or higher. You fold all other hands. House edge over the player is 3.37%. What makes this game so remarkable is just how easy it is to hole card this game. If you see that the dealer has a hole card of a 2 through a jack, then you're simply going to always make the play bet. If the dealer has a queen, you will make a play bet with queen 9-2 or higher, otherwise you will fold. And the same thing goes for king or ace. And there, you have learned HoleCarding strategy for three-card poker. And what's remarkable is that with this little four-line strategy, you get an edge of almost 3.5% over the house. That's an edge over the casino, right, where the player has the edge. So how easy is that? You spot a dealer flashing a hole card and you get a 3.5% edge over the house. These used to be incredibly common in the late 1990s, early 2000s. It's how I got started hole carding. I tried to find blackjack dealers exposing hole cards, had very little success. And then I saw three-card poker and I was just astounded. I could just go into any casino for a period of time. Now there's quite a few casinos that have robust game protection in place, and it's much more difficult to find this sort of opportunity at three-card poker. Now let me just show you what to look for on a three-card poker table. That might give you some sense that it could be possible to catch a hole card at that particular game. What you want to look for are layout issues, right? And here is a typical layout issue. What we see here is the ideal shuffler placed off of the table at a place where when the dealer picks up the cards, they have to go over the rim of the table, then over the discard tray, and then cover all that space until you get to the middle of the table. Newton's first law, any object in motion will stay in motion until a force acts upon it. So what is the first motion? Is to lift those cards vertically, right? So vertical movement over the rim, over the discard tray, and then all the way to the center of the table. Is a horrible design. It's almost by force that a dealer would have to expose a hole card in a situation like this. So this is what you want to look for as far as table issues. Now, just go through a couple of other games so you can see how small the edge in 3-card poker is, even that 3.5%, compared to what you get in a game like Texas Hold'em bonus poker. Now, what I've done here is to break this down into win per 100 hands. And what I mean by that, this is a standard metric I use. We're assuming that a player is catching the hole card 100% of the time, that they have a full read on it, they know perfect hole card strategy, and that they're making a $100 wager on every single hand. In that case, I have a win per 100 hands, depending on which card in Texas Hold'em bonus poker the player sees, up to $2,400 per 100 hands. Now, just to give you sort of, again, a look at what could go wrong, here is a Texas Hold'em bonus table where I took a picture, and you can see again that that ideal shuffler is off of the table. And there is a discard tray in front of the shuffler. And so as that dealer is dealing the cards, they're going to have to bring those cards up and over that discard tray from off the table all the way to the center. Again, somebody sitting towards first base might easily see what the hole card is here and signal it to any other player at the table. Signaling is allowed from on the table, by the way. There's nothing illegal about that. All right, the next game that's very, very common is Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And again, you can just see these win per 100 hand rates, these edges we're getting over the house. Now, the strategy for both Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Texas Hold'em bonus poker is quite complicated and not easily available. So you might not be playing perfect strategy, but sometimes even intuitive strategies can give you a solid edge. But the big game, the one every advantage player wants to find, is a hole card in Mississippi stud poker. I have seen this dozens of times as I've walked through casinos. And in one case, I was consulting at a casino back east, and there was a player playing $10 a hand. I sat down next to him, and I was a secret shopper, and I could tell he was getting that hole card 100% of the time, right? He's playing $10 a hand. Why did he play $10 a hand? Well, look, he is seeing the river hole card. So at $10 a hand per 100 hands, his expected win rate is about $1,000. He doesn't want to burn out the game by betting $100 a hand, which was the table limit. So $10 a hand, he's comfortable with a win rate of $1,000 every 100 hands. Who wouldn't want to earn money at that pace? So this is definitely the game people are looking for. There's no question about it. Now, here is a picture of a Mississippi stud table with, again, the same shuffler problem. Look at that ideal shuffler set off the table where you have to go up and over the discard tray in order to place the cards into the middle of the table. It's almost impossible not to expose a hole card to the player situated around first base. Here's another example where the shuffler is off the table. So let me just read you one comment. I found this comment online on a message board. It is about HoleCarding Mississippi stud. So advantage players share information about this game online. I was recently at a casino in seat 1 of a Mississippi stud table, and the dealer was lifting the 3 common cards high enough so that I could usually see the bottom card, the last common card the dealer would turn over. I would say 60% of the time I could see the exact card, 30% of the time I could tell its general color and range, and about 10% of the time she dealt correctly and I couldn't see it. So this is a person saying that they had spotted a dealer with 60% full visibility, right? So if they are betting, and that's a possibly a river card, right? So if they're betting table max of $100, they're talking about $6,000 plus profit per 100 hands. Now, here are all of the win rates sort of put into one image so you can see them. And what I've done is actually included blackjack card counting in this as well. Most people don't realize just how small blackjack card counting is compared to hole carding in terms of win rates, again with a $100 wager for 100 hands. So a blackjack card counter is going to spread 10 to 100, 15 to 100, something like that. So the win rate on a 6-deck game is going to be about $20 per 100 hands. That's absolutely dead on, and it depends on whether we have hit or stand on 17, whether we are dealing to 1.5 or 1 decks through the 6-deck shoe. So we might have a win rate from $15 to $30 per 100 hands. Same thing with the blackjack card counter on 2 decks. You might get a win rate from $40 to $60 per 100 hands, but it is not even close. It's not even in the ballpark of what you get by hole carding these proprietary games. And you notice I put a hole carding blackjack in there as well. That really is an opportunity that most advantage players would love to find, but it's just not as easy as hole carding these proprietary games. So most casinos are well aware of hole carding blackjack and take many, many precautions against that. So, okay, next thing I want to show you is just a little bit about my own website to show you some of what's available there. So if you go to my website, advancedadvantageplay.com, you'll see this section called Downloads. And if you click on Downloads, then what you will find are files that will let you construct the ultimate Texas Hold'em strategy for hole carding based on the hole cards you see. So I have data files down here at the bottom, Excel files. You can open those up, you can inspect those, you can use those to create a strategy. Likewise, I have strategies for Texas Hold'em bonus poker up here. I have hole carding files that you can inspect to try and construct a hole carding strategy. I've never formalized these into a strategy. However, I have formalized a strategy for for the game Mississippi Stud, and you can find that if you simply go to Amazon and look at my book. Right, my book Advanced Advantage Play gives a very specific, explicit strategy for hole carding Mississippi Stud. Okay, now let me just show you a couple of pictures of shufflers that really illustrate just how poorly laid out some tables were back when I was doing this 20 years ago. So for example, here is an ace shuffler, and you can see with this shuffler, the tray where the cards would be expelled was about 3 inches off of the table, and then there was a lip at the edge of the shuffler that the dealer had to lift the cards over, and from there they had to lift it over the discard tray and onto the table. Here's another ace shuffler, and you can just see how they actually understood that you should not have the tray 3 inches above the table, and so this one was set at table level, but still you can see the lip, you had to lift it over, and then the discard tray. And here's an ideal shuffler, and you can see how it's positioned with respect to the discard tray. Here's another ideal shuffler. Okay, now let me tell you some hole card game protection suggestions for the guys out there in the casino industry side of this. First of all, learn the physical tells of hole card play. Often you will see somebody trying to get down low, and they might do this by actually sort of leaning over or leaning back in their chair to reduce the angle of incidence. So learn sort of the physicality that it takes to spot a hole card. Next, learn hole card strategy, or at the very least, learn basic strategy for the game. What you want to do is be able to tell when somebody is violating basic strategy. Because if you see repeated violations together with winning sort of being the lucky idiot, that is a huge tell that you've got a hole carder. Of course, watch for team play and signals. Typically, the person putting the big money down on the game will not be the person with the view of the hole card. You might have those people separated across the table so that, for example, you'll have a spotter at first base signaling to the big player at third base. So that if the casino got suspicious of the person at third base that they might be catching a hole card and stood behind them, that position doesn't see the hole card, right? So watch out for team play and signals. That's a very common duo, the spotter big player. Watch for players not playing the usual way. Again, the lucky idiot model is sort of the key one. If somebody's sort of just giving you this act like they don't know how they could be winning and they're just lucky, that's again something that's a tell. Certainly implement procedural fixes if possible. So there are, for example, in 3-card poker and some of these other games, there are ways of delaying dealing the cards that might be suspect to exposing a hole card until after the players have made a decision about their own hand. So that would be one example of a procedural fix. Improved table layout, of course, I've shown you some shufflers and the discard trays. That's a key point to this. Game protection. Always keep game protection in mind when laying out a table. And train your dealers, all right? What should they be looking for as far as hole carding? Use the latest generation of automatic shufflers, absolutely. So some of these latest shufflers, they are already designed so that they protect the hole cards. They delay putting cards out, or they release the cards at table level in a way where they can just be slid and they don't have to be lifted. So yeah, definitely use the latest generation of automatic shufflers, and frequently remind staff and management. It's a good idea to have that be part of your daily routine, to remind especially your dealers of hole card issues. So everybody, I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Please leave me a comment, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. And until next time, I'll see you later.